Hello and welcome to Raus IAS. This is the Daily News Simplified for the date 11th July 2024. And for our today's discussion, we have picked up these following articles from Indian Express, The Hindu, and The Hindu Business Line. Now, we have picked up 6 articles, 2 of which are related to our main discussion. The articles are Pathways for the Most Populous Nation, as today is the World Population Day. The second article is The Case for a Caste Census. The articles for your prelims discussion are mentioned over your screen. So let's begin our discussion. But before we begin, if you like our video, give us a thumbs up, and if you have any doubt, you can ask us in the comment section. So let's begin our discussion. The first topic of our today's discussion appeared at multiple places in The Hindu and also in Indian Express. Now this today 11th July is celebrated globally as the World Population Day. So this day has been observed since the year 1989. And this was to celebrate the milestone that at this particular year, the world population crossed 5 billion mark in the year 1989. And today, if we compare this population growth in the year 2024, presently the global population is over 8 billion. And India is the most populous nation in the world. Okay. So in our today's article, as the headlines say, that India's demographic journey of hits and misses, a pathway for the most populous nation. So in this article, we are going to see the growth of India's population and also various indicators which show that how has this growth been. And we will also correlate the population with sustainable development goals. Okay. So this topic is important for us for our GS paper 1 society, which says issues associated with population. And this is also important for our GS paper 2 social justice. Under the syllabus head, issues related to the development and management of social sector or services related to health, education, human resources, issues related to poverty and hunger. Okay. And in the year 2016, we saw this question in GS paper 2, which talked about demographic dividend. Okay. So let's begin our today's discussion. So let's understand India's population dynamics. Now presently, India's population is more than 140 crores, that is more than 1.4 billion. And the best thing is that the mean age of India's population presently is around 28 years. That is, we have a huge demographic dividend to tap. Okay. So, we will see these indicators. First, let's understand that what is the relationship of population expansion and economic growth. Now, initially what happens that in the initial stages, when the population of any country increases, what does it mean? It means that the labor force of that country increases. Okay, increase in human labor, which means that the production will increase because we have more manpower. It also means that the consumption will increase. Okay, so production increases, consumption increases, right? So this leads to economic growth and expansion. Also because we have more population is increasing, more people will migrate towards urban areas. So this will tend to urbanization, and cities, they are major contributor to any country's GDP. Okay. So in the initial stages, population growth means expansion of economy. Okay. Because we have more labor force. And then in the subsequent, after subsequent time, what happens? Population growth is stabilized. Okay, population growth rate becomes stable, or we can say that total fertility rate, it reduces, and apart from it, the birth rates, they decreases. Okay, so because of this, what happens? Because of this, the population expansion rate, it becomes stable. Okay, but the momentum, the population momentum, or we can say that economic growth momentum, it sustains. Okay. At this time also, economic growth, it increases because we have more working population as compared to the dependents. Okay. So this concept is known as demographic dividend. when a country, it is the potential a country can reap in order to expand its economy, which is dependent on a particular population group. Okay, that is when we have more number of working population as compared to dependent population, so we have more demographic dividend. Okay, and then subsequently what will happen? Subsequently, in the later stages, when population becomes stable and birth rate they come down, then the number of elderly in the population they increases. Okay, so this means that the human resources or the labor force they decline. Okay, so in the later stages in advanced economies, what we have seen that when the birth rate it comes down, and this will lead to more dependents, the number of dependents will increase. Okay, because there is a lack of working age population. Okay, so but presently we are in the age, we are in the era, or we are in the stage of population growth where the mean age of India's population is 28. Okay, now India entered this demographic dividend window in the year 2005-2006, and since then, and it is estimated that this demographic dividend window this will exist till the year 2055-56. Okay, and the peak, and this peak will occur. This is the data of Economic Survey 2018. So as per it, the peak of demographic dividend in India will happen in the year 2041, when 59% of India's population would be in growing age, would be in working population. Okay, or we can say the ratio of working population to dependent population would be 59%. Okay, but this is one thing, that we have huge demographic dividend, but in order to tap the highest potential of this demographic dividend and then achieve highest economic growth, it depends on the quality of our institution, and it also depends in the quality of our population, right? That what are the major institutions? For example, the quality of health institution in any particular country, the quality of educational institution in any particular country, and the quality of the human resources. Okay, it all depends on it. And further, we have another thing, that the countries around the world, they want to development is our agenda, but this development at the same time should be sustainable. Okay, so we are ushering towards the age of sustainable development. We all know that UN has set the ambitious target in the form of 17 sustainable development goals, and these were formulated in the year 2015, and the countries around the world, they had the window of 15 years. That is, the countries around the world, including India, they have the ambitious target to fulfill these sustainable development goals till the year 2030. Okay, so these are the 17 sustainable development goals. So now we have to move towards development along with inclusive growth. Okay, so inclusive growth in terms of development in all the indicators, in all 17 sustainable goal indicators and 169 targets. But recently, in June 2024, the UN Sustainable Development Index for the year 2024 was released. So this is an annual report. This is released annually. So in the latest UN Sustainable Development Index 2024, this report says that the ranking of India is 109 out of 165 countries. And out of these 17 sustainable development goals, only 30% of these targets have been completed. This is the case of India, that India has only completed 30% of its target. And now we are in the year 2024. We have only 6 years time period remaining to complete 70% of these targets. Okay, and the India's present score is 64%, 64 out of 100. More the score, more a country is near completing its sustainable development goals. Okay, so we can see that India has a poor ranking in Sustainable Development Index 2024. So let's further see what is the state of India's population. So how is the India's population, or how are the India's institutions faring in terms of certain governmental data? Let's see, let's compare. Okay, now we know in these sustainable development goals, though we have 6 of them, they are major. Let's talk about the major sustainable development goals, which is around sustainable development goal of health. Okay, so in the criteria of health, we have seen that India has done major development, or healthcare institutions in India are developing, and this is due to major efforts by the government in terms of national health missions. Okay, and Pradhan Mantri Arogya Yojana and various other sub missions, Janani Suraksha Yojana and various other missions. Okay, so because of all these efforts by the government and innovations in the private sector, we have seen that the conditions of healthcare institutions, they are improving. Okay, and the various healthcare indicators, they are also improving. Now this can be seen by these data, that the total fertility rate of India, this is the data of National Family Health Survey 5th edition. So this says that the total fertility rate of India presently is 2.0. Now this is even below the replacement level fertility. Replacement level fertility rate is 2.1. Okay, so now we can see that India's population growth, it has stabilized. Okay, and now this is due to various efforts by the government in family planning and in the awareness to the use of contraceptives and increasing availability of contraceptives. Okay, and one important mission which was mentioned in the news article in Indian Express was Mission Parivar Vikas. This was a flagship initiative of government which started in the year 2016, and this particularly targeted the high fertility 146 districts of India, and they are spread over 7 states of India, 7 highly populous states of India, which are Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Rajasthan, and West Bengal. Okay, so this scheme targeted 146 districts in order to build stabilize population and build awareness regarding contraceptive use. Okay, and then we have seen that the maternal mortality rate of India, it has declined. Okay, it has decreased. Now it is 102 in 1 lakh population. The data is of the year 2020. That is 102 maternal deaths out of 1 lakh mothers. Okay, so we can see that as from the year 2000, this maternal mortality rate has decreased. Okay, the same goes for infant mortality rate. Presently in the year 2021, it is 25 per 1,000 live births. Okay, and the life expectancy in the country has increased. Now average life span in India is 70 years as compared to 61 in late 1990s. Okay, now but what are the concerns? The concern is that the non-communicable disease burden and lifestyle diseases in India is increasing. Around 60% of total casualties which happen in India annually, they are from non-communicable diseases, highest from cardiac arrest as well as cancer. Okay, and other lifestyle diseases. And then also we have seen that our elderly population, the share of elderly population has increased. Okay, so presently as per the 2011 census, their share was 8.6% in India's population, and now it is expected that by the year 2050, the share of elderly population would be around 20%. Okay, now when the share of elderly population is increasing, this means that the number of dependents in any country is increasing, right? So what does government should do? Government should take various social security measures for them. That is, first of all, their healthcare, that is geriatric. Government should invest much in geriatric healthcare. Also, the social security schemes like pension and insurance should be provided to the elderly population. Okay, such that these people do not become burden uh, at the later stages, or they become self dependent. Okay. And other indicators include hunger. So now see, after the green revolution, India became self sufficient in food production. Okay. The hunger of our country has declined since the advent of green revolution. But if we talk about nutritional data, see, hunger does not only mean self sufficiency in food production. It also means that apart from food security, we also need nutritional security. Okay. Now this is reflected in the fact that as per the 2023 Global Hunger Index, India's rank is 111 out of 125 countries. Okay, so India ranks among the lowest. And apart from it, India has one third of the total global malnourished children. So one third of total global malnourished children, they reside in India. And this is also backed by the data of National Family Health Survey 5, which tells that there is a huge percent of children in India below the age of 5 years who are stunted, who are wasted, or who are underweight. Okay. Stunted means their height is less as compared to their age, and wasting means they have severe malnutrition and their weight is very less as compared to their age and their height. Okay. So around 35% children in India are stunted, around 19% children in India are wasted, and India has the highest number of children wasted globally. Also, 32% of Indian children are underweight. Apart from this, we have seen the percent of overweight children in India is increasing. Okay, so this is the data, this is the government data. So this brings us to the point that the nutritional security in our country should be increased. Okay, and more awareness should be given on dietary patterns, improved dietary patterns. And then let's talk about poverty. Now see, there is a subsequent reduction in the poverty indicators or in the poverty level in countries. So people who are living below poverty line, their number has come down since 1990s. In 1990s, their number was 48%, but now in 2019, as per the government data, the people who are below poverty line, they are just 10%. Okay. And as per the latest multidimensional poverty index indicator, so it tells that around 11% of Indian population is multidimensionally poor. We have covered MPIs in previous videos. Okay. So, this 11% of India's population, it translates to 16 crore. And the 16 crore is also a very huge number. Okay. And the alarming fact is that out of the 16%, out of the 16 crore of India's population who is below poverty line, or out of this 11% population, 83% is located in just 4 states of India. These 4 states are UP, Bihar, Jharkhand, and Madhya Pradesh. Okay. So we can see that inequality, the presence of inequality, the presence of economic inequality in India. Now, this is also seen by the fact that though the GDP of our country is increasing, right? But this is not translating into income equality. So this can be seen from the fact that top 10% of Indian population, they hold 77% of India's wealth. Okay. And also there is a high rate of migration, internal migration in India. So as per the census of 2011, the internal migration rate in India was 36% of then population, which roughly translates to 45 crore people. Okay. And majority of these people, 50% of those people who are migrating from rural areas to urban areas, 50% of these people are living in slum like condition. Okay. Now this also means that they are prone to more waterborne diseases and communicable diseases, and their standard of living is quite less, and which is not in concurrence with sustainable development goals. Okay, so now in order to meet our sustainable development goals and in order to tap the demographic dividend of our country, what we should do, this is the way forward, that we need to tap the demographic dividend of our country. For that, first of all, we need to invest in the human resources. How it can be done? First of all, health. We should invest. Our health institutions should be robust. Our health care institutions should be robust. Presently, 1.3% of India's GDP is being spent as this is the health budget of India, and this should be increased to at least 2% or more than 2%. Okay, this will reduce the out of pocket expenditure of India's population, and more focus should be given towards improving nutritional outcomes. Okay, this is first thing, because right to health is this is also fundamental to right to life under Article 21 of Indian Constitution. Okay, and second thing is that the state of educational institutions should be improved. We should focus more on improved educational outcomes, that is improving the gross enrollment ratio, decreasing the dropout rates, especially in higher education institutions and especially among girls. Okay, this also brings to one point that there is a huge gender inequality in India. Okay, and then vocational education focus should be more on providing vocational education, especially in rural areas, and then we should work towards skill training, industrial collaborations, and skill training of huge demographic dividend of India. Okay, such that more avenues of employment should be created, such that these people who are skilled, they can be assimilated in say manufacturing or services sector. Okay, now the second thing is that we should promote gender equality, and gender equality means this can be done in various institutions, like more focus should be given towards enrollment ratio of girls in educational institutions, their dropout rate should be prevented. Okay, and say the violence, for example, in the social conditions, the violence among women should be the focus should be to reduce violence upon women. This can be done by promoting awareness and by strengthening our law enforcement agencies. Okay, and then focus should be given on geriatric care, that is the care of elderly, and also social security benefits like pension and insurance should be provided to them. And then we need to improve our urban infrastructure, because as the population, as the migration, and also as the population in urban cities or urban places, it is increasing. What is happening? This is leading to unsustainable growth in cities, haphazard development, and this huge population burden in urban places, it is placing huge burden on limited urban resources. For it, what should be done? For it, urban infrastructure should be planned, should be expanded. Okay, and more focus should be given on green infrastructure, producing energy from green sources, green buildings, increasing the green spaces, among others, in cognizance with sustainable development goals. Okay, and then there should be avenues to facilitate interstate migration. We all know that the northern states of India, they have huge demographic dividend, and in some years, in some decades, the southern state of India, they will be facing labor shortage. So in that sense, India should do there can be some mechanism. For example, three language formula should be adopted. Also, the assimilation of laborers among states should be done better. Okay, and by other policies. So this is what can be done in order to harness our population dividend, our demographic dividend, and also make our development sustainable. Okay, with this, let's move on to our next article for the day. This appeared on the page number 10 of The Hindu. Now this article says the case for a caste census. Now in this article we will see some facts about caste census in India, what is the need for it, and what are the arguments against it. Okay, now this article is important for our GS paper 1 society under the syllabus set issues related to population, GS paper 2 polity and governance under government policies and interventions. Okay, So in GS paper 1 in the year 2018, we found this particular question. Okay. So let's begin our discussion. Now let's see a few facts about caste census. Now first of all, we know what is census. Census is an exercise which is conducted after every 10 years by the Ministry of Home Affairs. Okay. And what is caste census? Caste census is the caste-wise tabulation of all the population of India in the census. Okay. That the caste of the population of India is tabulated or is documented in the census document. Okay. Now, the first caste census of India, it happened in the colonial times in the year 1881. Since then, caste census was a regular affair, and the last caste census, it happened in the year 1931. Since then, India did not conduct a comprehensive caste census. And, you know, the caste data, after independence also, in the policy of government had a wishful thinking that if government would not enumerate the caste data in the census, maybe the caste identities will wither away slowly from societies. But as we know that the caste identities are still prevalent, are still prominent in the society. Okay. And I said that government did not do a comprehensive caste census after the year 1931. But in all the census exercises which happened after independence, that is from 1951 till the last census which happened in the year 2011, government has counted and tabulated the caste data of scheduled caste and scheduled tribes in India. Okay, so the caste census for scheduled tribe and scheduled caste and scheduled tribe is done, but for other castes, including other upper caste as well as OBCs, it has been not done. Though there has been subsequent pressure on the government, central government, to conduct a census exercise. Okay, and under this pressure, in the census of 2011, what government did? Government did a socio-economic caste census in the year 2011, and this was an attempt to comprehensively map the caste of entire India. But the caste data of socio-economic caste census was not published. Other data, other indicators of economic backwardness, other backwardness were published, but this caste data were not published, as government said that this caste data, it had certain flaws, and this caste data was not reliable. Okay. Now, we have seen this background. Now, let's understand that what is the need for caste census in India. Now, various political organizations, various political groups, they are constantly pressuring, in one sense, central government to do caste census. Okay, but and various states, for example, recently Bihar, the state of Bihar, in the year 2023, it conducted a caste census in its state. Okay, and even Karnataka conducted a caste census in the year 2016. But this, in the case of Bihar, but the data of this Karnataka census were not published. Okay, and in the case of this Bihar census, what government did? Central government challenged it in Supreme Court, because central government said that doing census, conducting census is a mandate of central government, because census is mentioned in the union list in the 7th schedule of Indian Constitution. The subject of census is mentioned under union list. Okay, and so only the central government, it has the mandate to conduct census as per the Census Act of 1948. Okay, so the states should not conduct such kind of exercise. Okay, so having seen this, let's see that what is the need of caste census, or what are the arguments in favor of it. The first thing is that conducting a census is a social imperative for government. Still, when I told you that it was the wishful thinking of the government that if the caste data is not included in census, slowly the caste identities will wither away. Okay, they will go away. But now still we can see that in Indian societies, there are there are various manifestations of caste. Okay, still there are caste identities which are prevalent and which are being used in various institutions. For example, caste based reservations, and for example even say other institutions, for example marriage, which is a social institution. Intercaste marriages are still discouraged in India, and still residential grouping, they happen on the basis of caste. Okay, so we can say that caste presently also, it is integrated in the social fabric of India. Okay, so still the caste identities exist. So it is the social imperative of the government to do a caste census, because when the government will do a caste census, it will track the demographic changes which have happened in the society since 1931. Now, the last comprehensive census was in the year 1931. At that time, it showed that the population of other backward classes, it was 53% at that time. But now, since we know that more than 90 years have been passed since this census was done and the data is updated. Okay, so government needs a accurate data. Okay, and then for there is an administrative imperative of the government also. Now we know that government does certain affirmative actions. Government does affirmative actions. Government has certain social and welfare mechanism, and these are also based on upliftment of people of, like, say backward classes, other oppressed classes. And in order to formulate an accurate policy, in order to formulate an evidence based policy, government needs accurate numbers. Only then government will able to formulate an evidence based policy. The second thing is that already government has been giving such kind of affirmative actions or welfare measures since independence. So government should get a fair idea, or government can do an assessment that how far the welfare policies have really helped people of marginalized or depressed classes. Okay, for that there should this caste census, which can give data about the present state of particular caste groups, it can give a fair idea to government about the state of its policy implementation. Okay, and then subcategorization. There was a Rohini commission which the government formulated in the year 2017, and last year in 2023 this Rohini commission, it submitted a report to President of India. So this Rohini commission, it among other things, it was to see the subcategorization of OBCs. Now see what has happened, that the benefit of social welfare schemes or affirmative actions, it has not been properly assimilated to the deserving people. And within a particular category, there have been certain dominant caste who are reaping the benefits of affirmative actions, but there are certain depressed caste, or there are certain marginalized caste within a particular category, they are not able to properly achieve those benefits. So such kind of data will also see the subcategorization of these castes among a particular category also. Okay, and then there is a political imperative on government also, because see government gives reservation, as we already talked, in educational institutions, in public employment also. See, in political scenario also, for scheduled caste and scheduled tribes, the constituencies means seats are reserved. Okay, political constituencies are reserved. So but for other backward classes, these political constituencies are not reserved. Okay, so we can see that it is a political imperative of government, because government formulates policies based on caste. So government should have an accurate data of present dynamics. Having said this, there are certain challenges in such a caste census. What are these challenges? The first thing is that enumerating the caste, because see there are multiple caste identities and categories in India, subcaste and categories in India. So documenting all such caste categories would be a complex exercise for government, and it would have enormous cost in terms of financial resources as well as human resources also. First thing. The second thing is that it will reinforce caste identity. Now, when the caste of any particular group or particular population is documented, so it would be hard for say certain population group to be assimilated fully, and further it may create social tensions. When people are aware of the caste based dynamics, caste based population which are residing in, say, in a given geographical region, so it may create social tensions among people also, okay, and it may reinforce caste identity also. And then, maybe there may be certain caste groups who may not be willing to tell their caste, okay, to make their caste public. So this may ruin their privacy also, and such caste data is more prone to misuse by government. That is, certain, say, political parties may start their caste based agenda, or they may give certain caste based benefits, and this particular data which is being collected in order to promote social justice, this may be diverted in order to do political vote bank politics, okay. So there can be misuse of this data. Other thing is that there can be new demands for reservation. Now you know that presently there is a 50% cap on reservation, and now when the population share of certain categories, it may be increased or decreased. And say if the population share of particular category is increased, this may bring new demand for reservation, okay, and political protest, which may become violent also, and this can raise social tensions. And there is also federal issue associated, that this caste census is the mandate of central government, and there can be conflict between central government and state government if state governments they conduct caste census by themselves, okay. So what is the conclusion? The conclusion is that since caste is a sensitive issue in India, okay, so though a caste census, it gives valuable data for social justice, but still the pros and cons of caste census, they should be properly discussed and given. And if there are more benefits as compared to disadvantages, then government should go towards forming a national data bank of caste, which would be used in order to give social security, in order to give social benefits or social justice and for inclusive growth, okay. But having said this, caste is not the sole criteria for backwardness. We have seen that economic backwardness, it can happen in all the population irrespective of their caste. So what should be the long term goal of government? The long term goal of government should be to achieve inclusive growth, and this can only be happen when across multiple institutions are strengthened. For example, as we discussed earlier, that health institutions are strengthened. Education, we need to go towards quality education, skill development, more employment opportunities, okay, and social development, among others. So this should be the priority of government, okay. So this brings us to a prelims discussion. The first topic of our prelims discussion is inspired by this news article, which is present on the science and tech section of the Hindu. Now this news article says that why is India drilling a 6-kilometer deep hole in Maharashtra? So it is about a deep drilling mission which the government is undertaking in Maharashtra. So this is India's first deep drilling experiment. Now what is happening in this mission? Let's understand. So first of all, let's understand the location where this deep drilling experiment is being conducted. The location is Koyna-Varna region of Maharashtra, and we can see in this map, this is this particular region, and this is being conducted by the Borehole Geophysics Research Laboratory under the Ministry of Earth Sciences. Now what are the objectives of this particular experiment? This particular experiment, it is conducting deep drilling to a depth of 6 kilometer. So there would be a deep drill, if this is an earth crust, to the depth of 6 kilometer, and the diameter of this particular bore is around 0.5 meters, 0.45 meters, okay. Now the main aim is to study reservoir triggered earthquakes in the Koyna Varna region. Now let's understand that. Now first of all, see, there is a Koyna dam which is located in Maharashtra in the Satara district. Okay. Now this Koyna dam was created in the year 1962. So for this, a huge reservoir, for the creation of dam, there was a huge reservoir which was created artificially, Koyna reservoir. Okay. And this reservoir is created in Koyna river, and Koyna river, it originates from Mahabaleshwar in Maharashtra. Okay. Now after the creation of this Koyna dam, what happened? That there were frequent incidents of earthquake in this in the nearby region, in the Koyna Varna region. Okay. Now scientists want to know that what are the reasons for the increased frequency of minor earthquakes in this region. Okay. So they want to study reservoir triggered earthquakes, the earthquake that are being triggered by the reservoir. That is the pressure, the weight of this reservoir is triggering earthquakes. Now, you know, predicting earthquakes in the boundaries, in the plate boundaries is relatively easy. Okay. But inside any plate, predicting earthquake is a little difficult. Okay. So earlier, they were whether there were various indirect methods to estimate the occurrence of earthquake. For example, scientists, they studied magnetic field over a region. They studied gravitational force in any region. Okay. And also there was several other studies regarding the speed of seismic waves. Okay. But these were indirect methods. But now what scientists are doing, they want more direct evidence. For it, they are drilling this hole, and when they will drill this hole, they will get certain rocks, and there are cameras in this. There are high resolution cameras which will see the interior of this borewell. Now how is it going to help them? Now the rock samples which the scientists, which the geophysicists are going to get from these depth, from these rock samples, they are going to assess the strength of this particular rock. They are going to assess the stress level this particular rock is can handle. Okay, that what is the stress level this particular rock is going to handle. And they can also see the presence of fractures in the rock. Now based on this, they may figure out that how much stress level a reservoir, how much stress level the rocks surrounding the reservoir can withhold. Okay. And they can also estimate the pressure changes which are happening to these rocks caused by water reservoirs, and hence they can predict the occurrence of earthquake depending on when the water level increases in the reservoirs, or when the water level increases or decreases, what are the change in earthquake frequencies. And then fault identification, high resolution imaging inside the borewell will lead to identification, will reveal the presence of some certain faults which are inside the earth crust. And also they can measure the temperature and pressure of these rock, and which will help them determine, and by studying the temperatures as well as pressure, it will help them determine the earthquake activity which can happen in this region. Okay. There are certain challenges also. For example, there are certain technical challenges. This is due to high pressure and high temperature at the depth of 6 kilometers, and it also requires advanced drilling technology and equipment. Okay. Now based on this information, let us solve this particular question. In the year 2023 in geography, we found this particular question which was regarding earthquake and seismographs. Now let's solve this question, which says that with reference to the deep drilling project, consider the following statements. Statement 1, it is an indirect method to study Earth's interior. This is incorrect because this is a direct method which is analyzing the rock samples. Okay. The second statement says the Koyna region is under significant stress and is prone to earthquakes. This is a correct statement. The third statement says it is conducted by the Borehole Geophysics Research Laboratory under the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. This is incorrect because this particular project is being undertaken by this particular research laboratory which is under the Ministry of Earth Sciences. So only one statement is correct. Now let's move on to our next news article which appeared on the page number 1 of the Hindu Business Line. Now this news article says that for the first time IIT Madras will host a global college level competition on Hyperloop technology. So IIT Madras is planning to develop a 410-meter vacuum tube and which is likely to be ready by September 2024, and this will be one of the longest vacuum hyperloop tubes in the world. And then there would be a competition regarding Hyperloop technology in the year 2025. Now in this news article, let's understand that what is this vacuum hypertube and what is Hyperloop technology. Okay. Now see, you can see in this image, this is the demonstration of a Hyperloop technology. So presently Hyperloop technology is in the developmental stages. It has been theorized and it is developing. So what is Hyperloop? Hyperloop is an ultra high speed ground transportation system for passengers and cargo. So it would be a transportation system which will achieve ultra high speed. It is theorized that this particular system will achieve the speed of hypersonic speeds, that is more than 5 Mach or roughly around 5000 km per hour. Presently the Hyperloop which has been created by IIT Madras, it has the maximum speed of around 400 km per hour. But in the future development, it expects to achieve hypersonic speeds. Okay. Now first of all, what are the barriers for any automobile to achieve high speeds? What are the barriers? The barrier is friction. Okay, see if this is an automobile, say this is an metro or any metro, say it is a metro, and when it is moving in a high speed, there is an air resistance, okay, which slows its speed, that is it has to face air resistance. And further, what is another thing? The wheels, because they are in contact with the railway tracks, then what will happen? Because of this, there will be a friction. Okay, so this high speed, it faces two challenges. One is from air resistance, another is from friction of wheels. Okay, now the technology is that if we minimize this air resistance and if we remove this friction due to wheels, then we can achieve high speed or we can achieve hypersonic speeds. Okay, now this is the key technology or this is the key idea behind Hyperloop technology. Now let's understand Hyperloop technology. Now first let's see what are the components of a Hyperloop. What are the components? The first component is a vacuum tube. You can see this vacuum tube, it is a kind of tube. It is a kind of pipe-like structure, or it is a kind of tube which is maintained at a near vacuum state. That is, all the air or nearly, see this article says nearly vacuum state. Okay, so they try to suck out maximum air from this tube such that there is a near vacuum state built inside this tube. Okay, this is the first thing, and this is to reduce the air resistance. Now what is the second component? The second component will be a capsule or a pod. See this cart which can carry passengers as well as cargo. Now this will be a pod and it will have an aerodynamic design. This is the aerodynamic design, okay, which is streamlined to minimize the air drag. That is, the aerodynamic design of this cart will minimize the air drag. Apart from this, a key technology is being used here, which is magnetic levitation. So what does levitation means? Levitation means to rise or to hang. In this context, to hang. Okay. So what is happening? Such kind of trains, if this is the track, these trains are suspended in the air. That is, they are moving without a contact with the railway tracks. Okay, so they are levitating in the air, they are suspending or floating in the air, okay, inside this vacuum tube. Now how is this happening? This is happening via the use of strong electromagnets. So this magnetic field, it is facilitating this magnetic levitation. Okay, so let's see in brief that what is magnetic levitation. Now for it, say this magnetic levitation, it basically in this system, it uses strong electromagnets in the railway tracks, this is a railway track, as well as in the pod, okay, or this vehicle which is to be suspended. Now this is based on a principle of magnetism, a basic principle of magnets, which says that any magnet has two poles, north pole and south pole. Okay, and what is the principle of magnet? That opposite poles, they will attract each other, whereas like poles or similar poles, they will repel each other. Okay, now same principle we are going to use here, that there is a set of electromagnets which is inducted in this pod also and in this railway track also. Now first of all, using this magnetic fields generated, this pod is levitating in air, it is suspending in air. Secondly, how is it moving? Now see in the first image, this is the first image. Okay, now let's zoom it. See here, this pod is placed in any particular position in relation to this railway track. Okay, now in this case, let's see, there is a north pole here, so this north pole will repel this north pole in this pod, and then there is a south pole here at a particular spacing, this will attract this north pole. Hence, because of this dynamics, that the south pole is repelling south pole and subsequently this south pole is being attracted by north pole, this repulsion will push the pod away from this north pole, whereas this attraction will pull it towards. Okay, so there is a repulsion which is pushing the cart away from this track, and whereas in the second stage there is an attraction, force of attraction, which is pulling it towards it. Okay, now because of this, the cart will move forward, and in the second stage what will happen, when it moves a particular distance, then see the polarities will change. Earlier here was north pole, now the polarities, because these are electromagnets, hence the polarities can be changed. Now the polarities are changed. Now again we see in the second stage, now this cart has moved from this original position to this position. Now again the same principle will happen, this push and pull, which is leading to the motion of this particular vehicle. Okay, a simple principle of attraction as well as repulsion. Now there are certain advantages of Hyperloop. What are the advantages? Ultra high speed. This is a primary advantage, ultra high speed. And what is second advantage? See, this system, it is using electromagnets. Okay, electromagnets use electricity in order to sustain magnetism. Okay, they are different from permanent magnets. So this energy which is required to this electromagnets, and in this technology also, this energy is being derived from renewable energy sources. So this will be an emission free. This would be emission free. Okay, and now what are the challenges? The challenge is that there is a high cost involved in this project in building this intercity vacuum tubes. Maintaining vacuum, building such vacuum tubes with near vacuum situations and sustaining it requires high cost, and it also requires high energy requirement, and also these systems, they face difficulty to navigate corners, and this technology is still under development. Okay, with this, let's move on to our next article which appeared on the page number 13. Okay, let's solve this question also. Now UPSC generally asks questions regarding new emerging technology. Now let's solve this question about Hyperloop technology. It is a transportation system based on the principle of magnetic levitation. This is the correct statement. The tubes in the Hyperloop system have complete vacuum, leading to no friction at all. See, this is a very ideal case, though they strive to go towards zero vacuum or minimizing friction, but this system is not completely friction free. Okay, so it will have certain amount of friction. So this is a near vacuum. That's why we say there is a near vacuum situation, and this is an extreme statement which says that it has a complete vacuum situation. Okay, that's why this statement is incorrect. So what is the correct statement? Only one statement is correct. Now let's see this question. In this particular news article, a two judge bench of Supreme Court has ruled that divorced Muslim women, they have the right to alimony under the secular CrPC. Now see, even if the Muslim woman, if she has taken divorce under the Muslim personal law, even at that time she has the right to get alimony under the CrPC. And the CrPC, this is a secular law. Okay, it applies to all religions in India. Okay, so this is the gist of this law. We will see this article. Now first of all, this article talks about maintenance amount. What is maintenance? Maintenance is any amount which is payable by the husband to the wife, and in that case wife to husband also. So it is an amount payable by husband to wife who is unable to maintain herself during the marriage or after divorce. So this is the maintenance amount. Okay, but in India there are certain laws which govern maintenance. What are these laws? There are various laws like Hindu Marriage Act, Hindu Adoption and Maintenance Act. There are various personal laws like Muslim Women Protection of Right on Divorce Act 1986, Parsi Marriage and Divorce Act, Special Marriage Act, and also there is another law which is Criminal Procedure Code CrPC Section 125, this CrPC 1973. In it, a particular section 125, it deals with maintenance. Okay, now this court said that even if a Muslim woman, if she has taken divorce under this Muslim personal law, she has the full right to get alimony or maintenance from her husband under this CrPC. And this CrPC, this section 125 of CrPC, it deals with maintenance, and it says that if any person having sufficient means neglects or refuses to maintain his wife, and her wife means any divorced woman who has not remarried, okay, who is unable to maintain herself, and his legitimate and illegitimate child, or a child with physical or mental abnormality, a magistrate can pass order to make a monthly allowance for the maintenance of his wife or child. Okay, so it basically talks about giving maintenance to a divorced woman who is not remarried and to her child, okay, by the husband. So this is particular article. Now you know why this particular law is in which the particular ruling of Supreme Court, it is in consonance with Article 15 of Indian Constitution. See, Article 15 of Indian Constitution says that state there is prohibition of discrimination on the grounds of religion, race, caste, sex and place of birth. So but there is a Article 15 clause 3, it says that nothing in this article shall prevent the state from making any special provision for women and children. So this particular ruling is in consonance with Article 15 clause 3, and also it is in consonance with the DPSP Article 39E in the Constitution of India, which says that state should maintain the right to dignity of any women, such that women, any worker, women, any man, women worker, they should not be forced by economic necessity to enter into any avocations or any source of earning unsuited to their age or strength. That is, it is about preserving women dignity. Okay, now let's solve this question, which says that the right to seek maintenance in India is a constitutional right, statutory right, fundamental right or natural right. Now UPSC asks such type of question as we saw in the year 2017. Now what is the answer? The right to seek maintenance, this is a statutory right because it is mentioned in the various statutes. They are mentioned in various acts by the parliament, these particular acts. Okay, so the correct answer is option B. Okay, now let's move on to our final article for the day. It was mentioned in the page number 13 of Indian Express, and it talks that in the Upper Siang district in Arunachal Pradesh, there are various protests which are happening regarding the construction of a dam. So a mega dam which aims to generate 11,000 megawatts of power. It is going to be this dam is proposed in the Upper Siang district in Arunachal Pradesh. But the people there, they are protesting because there are certain environmental considerations. They say that construction of this dam will damage the already sensitive ecology of Arunachal Pradesh, and it is feared that more than 300 villages will be submerged by the creation of this dam. Okay, so in this context, let us see if there is a question that where is Siang power project located. So it is located in Arunachal Pradesh. Okay, and this is an under construction project. But let's understand about Siang river. So Siang river, Brahmaputra river, which we know as Brahmaputra river, it is called Siang river in Arunachal Pradesh. So let's see a few facts. Siang river or Brahmaputra river is also known as Shangpo in Tibet. So where is its point of origin? This river originates in Mount Kailash in Tibet near Lake Mansarovar, and there it is known as Sangpo. In Arunachal Pradesh, it is known as Siang river. And when the Siang river, and this is also known as this Dihang river, Siang or Dihang river. Okay. So when it in Assam, when three rivers meet, that is this Siang river, Debang river and Lohit river, when they meet together, their point of confluence, it is in Assam, and then they make Brahmaputra river. Brahmaputra river is a transboundary river which passes through three countries, Tibet, India and Bangladesh. Okay, the total length of the river is around 2900 kilometers, but in India it travels a little over than 900 kilometers, and in its journey it passes through certain states of India. These are Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Nagaland, Meghalaya, West Bengal and Sikkim. Okay, so let's see the tributaries of this river. So as the river is moving in this direction, the right bank tributaries of the rivers are this Siang, Subanshri, Kameng, Manas, Sankosh and Teesta. These are important rivers. And the left bank tributaries of this river are Dhanshri and Dishang. Okay, now let's solve a practice question. In the year 2014, UPSC generally asks questions regarding various important geographical locations. So in the year 2014, we saw this particular question. Now with reference to river Brahmaputra, consider the following statements. The river forms a horseshoe bend around the Namcha Barwa peak. This is a correct statement. This river originates in Tibet, but when it enters India, see here, when it enters India, it makes a sharp turn. It makes a horseshoe bend. Okay, and then enters through Arunachal Pradesh into India, and this is around the Namcha Barwa peak. Okay, the river basin extends in the three states of India. Now this is incorrect because we already saw that this river basin, it extends through around 6 states of India. Teesta is a left bank tributary of Brahmaputra river. This is incorrect because Teesta is a right bank tributary of this river. Okay, and UPSC once asked some facts about Teesta river also. Now what is the correct option? The correct option is the correct answer is option B, 1 only. Now this brings an end to today's section. If you have any doubt, you can ask us in the comment section. Thank you.